course, the second part of vexation of our own guilt. And as I said, I was going to get this part put up, and it's a good repost that's going to bring a lot of edification and exhortation to the path and the track that prophetically we are going to go through. And this is a lot of realizations in reference to what we should be looking forward to dealing with, and be very grateful that we are going through this process, because this is how we get out of here. This is how we get forward in our graduation to regeneration. This is what we need to look forward to. We need to embrace all of the things that YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi is doing, because it's to our benefit. It's not against us. It's not causing consternation in the way that we think. If you're not so carnal minded to the degree that you can understand that the Father is taking us through this process in order to get us to the kingdom, and for us to be in decently perfect in order, this is what it's going to take. And this vexation of our own guilt is something we should realize, because if you're not picking up on the clues that the Most High has presented to us, it's not a test, it's a process. And the process in itself is giving us the opportunity to get through the clues in each multiple lifetimes that the spirit that was created in you is presented here in the flesh, to fulfill the mission for the Most High, which you should be very proud and very elated over the fact that you've been selected to perform in this end time, at this period in time. As I said before, any and everyone that's here at this time, whether they be in the bugged out fashion or the righteous fashion or the up and coming, either way, righteous or unrighteous, they've been selected to participate at this end time. And you know, the scriptures bear the fact that the ancestors, the apostles of our ancestors, the apostles, and and those prophets from the past, they talked about wanting to be in this period of time that we see right now. But here we are selected. And in essence, basically they are, because we are them. we are them, Shalaki. We are them and they are us, okay? So we are actually here participating in the lot that we're supposed to be part of. So I'm going to go ahead and get this this repost done. I hope that you get edified by it, and it's going to be good. Lots of scripture being pulled out, and just enjoy it. And you know, let's talk about it afterwards. Okay, hold on a minute. Let me get set up here. All right, here we go. There we go. I'll lock that in real good. And let's get it started. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Kalal, YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, BAHASHAM Rawhacca Qadash. I want to give my admiration and my respect to the Akim who are out here striving to continue to bring this truth out. In spite of all that is happening so quickly and so fast to the hand of YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. Definitely want to give utmost respect and admiration for the diligency of the apostles who have been bringing out the truth decade in and decade out with the accuracy that is at best what we can have as we are in this fallen state, as the Most High hand is on everything that's happening, that is happening and will happen. The lesson for today is, it's a good one. It's a tough one. But it's a hard lesson to bring out. So we just got to do the best we can. And as with the Most High, give us range and grace in order to do it. You know, because the title of the lesson is the vexation of our own guilt. That's right. The vexation of our own guilt. Now, you know, this has a wide range, a reach in reference to where we are with the transitional prophetic process moving forward at this time, as the Most High is in control of all things and his hand is on everything. And everything that he has, and he's moving in the direction that he's moving. He's playing both sides of the chessboard that belongs to him because it's his movie, and he is the producer, the director, the finisher, and the author of all of our faith and all of our grace. And he is in control. He rules everywhere on everything. And he gets all honors on everything and everywhere, and no one else gets it but him, because he rules extremely beyond well in the kingdoms of men, and no one else can do that. You know, we are definitely in vexation of our own guilt. What does that mean? Well, we know what a vexation is. A vexation is a process upon which we are definitely debased in the way that we try to operate, in showing that we have some prominence of power or prominence of understanding, but we are debased. We should be praying, worshiping, and praising. We should be praising and worshiping and praying with whatever free way you want to slice it, we should be doing. Because as things get turned up, you won't be in a position that you're dialed in. And you want to be dialed in with the Most High on all levels, not just the prayer level. You want to be dialed in and tight on your praise, your worship, and your prayer levels, you know, completely. I mean, absolutely. Because the amount of judgment that will befall this world is beyond what we can stand. That's why our vexation is our own guilt, because we have to go through it. Just like YAHAWAH went through it when he came here for us. And even as he, you know, I was listening to Elder Yashawama when he talked about we all going to have a moment of the Garden of Gethsemane. But the problem is, yes, we will experience some aspects of what YAHAWAH went through in calling upon the Father, in order for the fathers to speak with him and speak to his spirit about what will happen and what must be done and what has to be done with this prophetic, what he is prophetically destined to do, which is no doubt, you know, both portions of the process of payment in terms of what we owe for the salvation that we didn't earn is come. You know, the disciples, the apostles, were asked to stay awake for an hour, and I went through the process of breaking down what an hour could be for us in the Cornell passage during the hour of temptation, when we talked about the myriad of time aspects that are spoken through the Bible in terms of what we can realize in our living conditions here as we move through and on into prophecy. A day with the Lord is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day with the Lord. And then the way I broke down an hour from a day to a numerical factor, we had understood that we could be dealing with moments and seconds, that things could be happening, as with, he said with the scriptures, we will be changed, you know, like with the winkling and twinkling of an eye, roughly paraphrased, you know, but then you're in a spiritual body, you know. We speak in terms of what we can imagine it would be like to be in a spiritual body, and some of the attributes of that particular type of body and what that body could do and couldn't do. But our range is what we should be speaking about and what we can do. You know, the Spirit, YAHAWAH Bahasham Rawhacca Qadash, gave me a very interesting spin on some of the things that we should be thinking about that we don't. You know, we don't reach hard enough to teach what could be, even though we prophesy in part and know in part. But it doesn't mean you cannot reach for the understanding or pray for the revelation of what things could be further in a reaching portion of the intelligence and the cognitive ability that's built within you once you are awake to the truth. Case in point, there's so many other things to teach about that are high level edification, opposite dealing with fighting bug outs and debates. You know, they have a purpose. The apostles told you that many of the men of the Lord told you these things must be. We're going to have Jakes doing jacked up stuff, and we're going to have Jakeettes and all kinds of heathens doing all kinds of crazy weirdo crap, you know. But this is what they're scheduled and destined to be. They were predestined to do these things. But are you predestined to be distracted by them in terms of what you could be moving forward to in terms of feeding the sheep? A higher level of nutrient food that would be better served to them, you know? Why do spiritual levels of blockage prevent us from time to time to reach for that high level nutrient in terms of the food that would be the manna that should be offered to the elect in those that need to be awakened, and who's that been predestined to receive it? So we don't claim responsibility for the things that we did and apologize for it that we did when we weren't in the truth. We sometimes and most times walk with a proud presence as though we've already arrived, you know, as though we have a key, as though we have access, as though we are all already arrived and already determined to be, you know, higher than those that are sitting on the thrones that surround the Most High, who get down and worship and praise the Most High, who have spiritual bodies, who have overcome, who have thrones and crowns. We don't have them yet. We are desperately and diligently trying to earn them. What is the problem? Well, can we not praise and worship and pray hard to the Most High to lift, you know, some of the aspects of spiritual blockage, the scales off of our eyes, the fog off of our minds, so that we don't have a spiritual blockage to not understand that we should be teaching things that bring us closer to riding these horses of prophetic process that the Most High set in motion, that He's covered from all sides. We should be anxiously asking our Father, YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, to just free up the revelation of things that are important to operating and navigating within the prophetic judgments that are coming down on the entire earthly plane. Where are we? Where are we with this understanding? Why aren't we with this understanding? It's extremely beyond problematic, beyond the time frame that we are at this time now, with the hourglass that the Most High has turned over from His spiritual hand and from His spiritual realm of control, is beyond the hourglass that was before from the covenant of old, that was humanistically brought into existence for a teaching method that brings us to where we are now. There's too much that cannot and will not go unanswered. YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi is the only direction and answer you can have. But if we can't resolve ourselves to humility, release and pray for and worship and praise, that we get released from pride, that we acquire humility, because without that, you cannot wield spiritual power. You will not be delegated spiritual power if you are not in a humble position in order to accept it and understand it. Let's make it clear, very clear. What spiritual power will be dealt out by YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi will be under his strict control. You will not willy-nilly this spiritual power and do whatever you want. The Most High will still do things in decently and order. You got to understand this and believe that. Everything he has is done in decently and order. All the angels, all the powers, all creation, all the resources that he has created, they're all done in decently and in order. There's no vexation of guilt upon these things. None. All the vessels of honor and dishonor are still operating in order. And to the Most High, everything is under his decent control. This is what we should be looking to praise and worship for, answers to give to the sheep, to give them a track, a path that the Most High sets forth. He will deliver, but he's delivered us always. Even in most cases, the prophets got information all the time about what direction gets us in the paths to be delivered, whether we pay attention to it or not. This information is provided. It is given. It will be given again. The Most High don't change. Malachi chapter 4, speaking in that language, the Most High always provides a way out, and he gives direction on how to follow that way out. So it's ultimately imperative to graduate to the level of understanding where we can be vessels of revelation to bring forth the direction to the sheep, who with nutrient food and feed, so that what we can understand is as it always been, when we pray for that wisdom to direct as Solomon did, to lead to Most High's children through the perils of tribulation, through the confusion of face, through the obstacles of puppetized Esau Edom. The fear of the Lord is the wisdom and understanding to know what to ask of him as we ought. Like many times we just don't know what to pray for as we ought, roughly paraphrase, but we have to learn to lead and read the scriptures in a way that brings forth the knowledge to direct the children in a path that the Most High has set forth. And if we leave a trail, the trail will stay and be available for those that will come through, who are predestined to follow that through to salvation, working out our salvation in turn in fear and trembling. Fearing YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi is imperative, but it comes through a humble state of existence in his truth. We owe apologies to many of our sisters and women who we took part in the processes of dealing with them before we were in the truth, that allowed them to be in the condition that they're in with the hand of the Most Most High operating through his prophetic process that brings forth these types of revelations. But at the same time, we took part in this process. Our hands are not clean when it comes to this. They are owed apologies for things we've done in the world to them, with them, and for them, as we are to our brothers as well who have done things to them who are not right. Because the vexation of our own guilt brings the levels of humility that could stratify the process of being rewarded and crowned with the type of spiritual power that's important. There's a spiritual power that's in your mind, not just your physical new spiritual body. One of the things that operates the spiritual power and keeps it under control is the fuel that is put in the mindset of your spirit that comes to it from the bosom of YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. It's a mindset that controls the wielding of that particular power. And if that power is not controlled by YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, it in a humble mindset, then it's not going to be operating correctly. And it's a good chance that some will not be rewarded with that ability. You'll be in the kingdom, but you won't be a superpower, because humility will determine who that blessing and mantle is laid on. Let's make sure we understand this. This lesson is about vexation of our own guilt here that we must work and go through in these chains that we're in. Peter and the apostles went to sleep on Yahawashi when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, when he asked them, you couldn't even stay awake an hour. How you going to operate under his spiritual power jurisdiction, his spiritual power guidance, his spiritual power control of his men who are his host? How do you do that if you can't even stay awake for an hour? Meaning stay away from your own wants and needs and lustful feelings. You can't do it for an hour. How are you going to stay a watch as he asked to perform the rituals of salvation for us? This is important. This is beyond what you can imagine. And if he asked for strength from the Father, but through Yahweh's will, not his own will, through Yahawashi, YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, he asked for what the Father wants. He always prays and worships his Father, and he prayed to his Father for that answer, and his Father gave that answer. This must be done. But the apostles went to sleep. They were distracted. By what? By what? It's time to accept responsibility for our own vexation of guilt. Get humble so that we can be awarded and rewarded the mind control of spiritual power. We get ready to get to some scripture, okay? Because we need to. I'll tell you, it's just been so much that has been going on with everything that I've been watching lately. You know, all of the bug outs and the different things that are going down in the world. This here, let me get a little sip of this here. Man. Fix the garment. Yeah, Bahasham Yahawashi. said, this is a tough lesson because it really is eating away at me in terms of trying to express the fact that the Most High, He has already made His predeterminations on absolutely everything. You name it, He's done it. And we, as His chosen, we got some problems. Okay, we got us some problems. And the reason why I say we do is because we get distracted too often by the things that we should be able to look past and work past at this particular point in time. But again, I've always said that He's in control of all things, and He's already made His decisions. You know, I was looking at several videos, and during this period of time right now, we're into the new moon in the Shabbat, and I know a lot of us are solemnly mourning the situations that are going on in our lives based on how close we are to the end. And the vexation is very heavy and very thick right at this time. And it just speaks in so many different ways about what it is that we should be operating under and what we should be, dealing with. It's just so much that could be said, but then there's so much that isn't said, and we end up dealing with different types of experiences, and we work as best we can with these experiences, but we don't understand that the Most High has already predetermined everything that's already going to happen. So you probably say to me, okay, so what are you talking about, Brother Wadai? Are you saying that we don't have to do or we shouldn't do? No, I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is that since we already know that the Most High has made His choices and His selections are set in motion, and no one is going to change what He wants to do. You got a lot of wacky practitioners, religious practitioners that believe that when Yahawashi came, who they hate when he called Jesus, when He came, He went ahead and gave Him the ability to do all things, which he is, but at the same time, He's not changing what the Most High set Him forth to do. He always told you that He came to do His Father's will, and all of what He has to do has been predetermined, just like He was predetermined to be here even before the fall of Adam and Eve, and before we got into this condition that the Most High knew we had to go through in order to earn to rightly be in His kingdom, and in turn being in His kingdom to have eternal life and salvation, because you can't know what the value of that is unless you go through what we're going through here. So, if I were to say, if someone said to me, well, do we have to go through this? Why do we have to go through this if everything's been predetermined? Well, see, here's the part of it. I did a lesson about you are interviewing for your eternal salvation while you're here, which goes back to a lot of what I spoke about before in terms of the fact that whatever your lot was and you came out of, and then the mission that you actually agreed to in the spirit world from the first time that you had the meeting with YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and then your spirit is to be brought forth into this system, and then at that point, I don't know how many times any individual soul has been through here, but we can pretty much take a spiritual educated guess and say you've been here more than one time in terms of your spirit. So in terms of knowing that, in terms of dealing with that, you agreed to perform a specific amount of the mission and to complete the mission, and this is what the Most High has programmed you to do. So, you run into issues and situations where you have certain religious practitioners that want to act as though they know what this is all about. They don't. they're not spiritually connected to the Most High in that way. He only has a certain chosen people. They don't need to be taking and touching this word in any capacity. The book is not for them. The information is not about them, nor does it profit them. Okay, you know, and that's what he asked. Why would you even take this in your mouth? You know, roughly paraphrase. You know, so the point still remains that the level of vexation of our own guilt is supported by the fact that we're not completing the mission in the light of what the Most High really needs us to do from time to time. But He knows this. And so this is why, you know, you have to praise, worship, and pray for the ability to have these scales, as I said earlier, removed from your eyes, like what happened with Saul, who became Paul, on his way to Damascus to go to Nicodemus, and at the time when his scales fell from his eyes and he could see. See, the bottom line is we all have these scales right now over our eyes in terms of what we can and cannot see, and we are not effectively doing what we should be doing. I think in terms of what I'm seeing, the way people in the truth and my Achaim brothers and the elect are getting distracted by a lot of the things that's happening. You have to make sure that you give the answers that are there. You are giving them the information that's coming in the prophetic process that is happening. You are showing them the judgments of YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. But He also gives you the solutions. He gives you the transitional navigation in that process of prophecy to be able to get through specific things, because Jacob's trouble's coming in here, but he will be saved out of it. So that means those that are scheduled to be saved out of it, they have answers coming to them through the scriptures in reference to what's that supposed to be. But we have to accept the vexation of our own guilt. We have to understand where it is we got off the path, and praise, worship, and pray that He gets us back on the path so we can complete that mission. That's important. You know, we're going to break down some scriptures here and get into it. I mean, my commentary was obviously long, but I had to get into it from this perspective because, you know, it's been that way, you know. And, you know, this is a good time to bring the message out because it's a Sabbath, and what we need to understand is we're going to be doing this Sabbath so much more righteously and gracefully and mercifully in the kingdom. And this is not very long from us to get to this point. But, you know, as I was saying also, you know, we got the MOTB coming, but there's a couple of things that also have to be added to and happen before that situation does hit full force. You know, it talks about the two witnesses, which represents the kingdom of Judah as well as the kingdom of Israel, that have to take part in a takedown process in order for it to raise up in 3 days and show the power that the Most High wants to bring. And that brings me to that point. All of what's happening and everything that's going is because the Most High, Yahawah, the Father, is showing His power. They will say His name, even if they don't know it. They're going to call out His name just because He's going to make sure they know exactly who He is. Under no circumstances will you get Him confused with any idolatry or idolatristic information that's being brought out. That is not going to be the case. You're going to know, just like Pharaoh knew, just like he told you, he rose up Pharaoh just for that purpose. Well, he's doing the same thing right now when it comes to this particular world at this point. So this is what the Most High is doing. So let's not get that twisted at all. He will make sure that His power is shown. Stand and watch the salvation of the Lord, of Yahawah, because this is what you're going to see. And you're either going to be part of it, or you're going to have it be part of you. It's going to be one of the situations or the other, so you might as well get ready for that. But let's get into some scripture and talk about the vexation of our own guilt. And we're going to bring it out in scripture, because I think I took long enough to get into this. We're going to start in Ecclesiastes chapter 1. I believe I want to go there. So let's go with me to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Took me long enough to get there, right? But I'm here. All right. Where am I going to go? I'm going to 14. All right. I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That's what the Most High is saying. That's what we're dealing with. All is vanity and vexation of spirit. Okay, let's not get that twisted and understand that. Okay, we're going to go straight to Ecclesiastes chapter 2. All right. All right, we can start right at the top. We're going to start at 1. It says, I said in mine heart, go to now, I will prove thee with mirth. Therefore enjoy pleasure, and behold, this also is vanity. Now, when Solomon was bringing this out and giving this explanation of what was going on, remember, he asked for the wisdom to lead the children in the way that they needed to be led as far as the kingdom is concerned. He didn't ask for the riches, or he wasn't being lustful about women or anything of that nature. He ended up acquiring a lot of the things that were very worldly in that capacity, which eventually turned out to be not such a blessing for him anyway. But at the same time, what I am saying is that this is not what he asked for in the beginning, which shows that that spirit that he had at the time was very wise, okay? And he understood the vanity of everything that was here, because you're not going to take this stuff with you into the kingdom. It's not happening. You know, think about that. What from this kingdom would you choose to take, if you could, into the new covenant, into the new kingdom? What here in this system would you take with you? Now think about it, because this is a fallen state, and just about everything here is toxic except for the scriptures that are filtered through in truth from YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. But everything else is going to be toxic, man, except for his word and his law. So what do you think you could possibly take with you into that system that's coming with YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi in the new covenant? I say you not taking anything, because we ain't having no garage sale of Esau's crap. All right, just want to bring that out. Okay, 2. I said of laughter, all right, it is mad, and of mirth, what doeth it? I sought in mine heart to give myself unto wine, yet acquainting my heart with wisdom, and to lay hold on folly, till I might see what was that good for the sons of men, which they should do under heaven all the days of their life. So, you know, he's really evaluating what's important here. What do you really think that your heart should have in terms of what you're going to deal with and how you're going to deal with wisdom? He's bringing this out, right? I made me great works. I built me houses. I planted me vineyards. I made me gardens and orchards and planted trees in them and all kinds of fruits. See, he's doing all of this. I made me pools of water to water wherewith the wood that bringeth forth trees. I got my servants and my maidens, and I had servants born in my house. Also I had possessions of great and small cattle above all that were in Jerusalem before me. I gathered me also silver and gold and peculiar treasures of kings of the provinces. I gat me men singers and women singers, and the delights of the sons of men as musical instruments, and that of all sorts. So I was great and increased more than all that were before me in Jerusalem. Also my wisdom remaineth with me. See, this is what Solomon's telling you. And wherefore, and whatsoever mine eyes desired, I kept not from them. I withheld not my heart from any joy, for my heart rejoiced in all my labor, and this was my portion of all my labor. Then I looked on 11. Now see, here we go. Check out in verse 11. Then I looked on all the works of my hands and had wrought, and on the labor that I had labored to do, and behold, all was vanity and vexation of spirit, and there was no profit under the sun. You see what I'm saying? So he already told you right there, going down from Ecclesiastes chapter 2, and once we got to 11, the 11th verse, everything was vexation of spirit. Okay, let's hit 12. And I turned myself to behold wisdom and madness and folly. For what can a man do that cometh after the king, even that which hath been already done? 13. Then I saw that wisdom excelleth folly, as far as light excelleth darkness. Right? Check that out. And the wise man's eyes are in his head, but the fool walketh in darkness. And I myself perceive also that one event happeneth to them all. Then said I in my heart, as it happened to the fool, so it happened even to me. And why was I then more wise? Question. Then I said to my heart that this also is vanity. You see what I'm saying? For there is no remembrance of the wise more than of the fool forever, seeing that which now is in the days to come shall be forgotten. And how dieth the wise man as a fool? Therefore I hated life, because the work that is wrought under the sun is grievous unto me. For all is vanity and vexation of spirit. You see what I'm saying? And that whole, this whole Ecclesiastes chapter 2 clearly brings out the dichotomy of the wisdom and the vexation of spirit between your carnality that you operate under and your flesh. When you get into debates with people and all kinds of Edomites and all kinds of individuals and bug outs, you're operating in a carnality-based application where you're trying to overlay spirituality to say so-called defend the gospel. And I understand the principle behind wanting to defend the gospel, because it is spiritually written that we should do this. But we don't seem to understand that in defending the gospel, the methodology upon doing it has to be based upon humility and wisdom, without the prideful activity of boasting and going at these individuals and bug outs from that pride platform. That's not the nature upon how you defend the gospel. And plus, who says that Yahawashi needs to be defended by us? Point blank, period. He doesn't need our help to do anything. He is requiring us to participate in the work based on the fact that our work is part of our worship. And in the process of the work being part of our worship, we may receive a reward at some point. But the reward doesn't come until after you do the worship and the work. It doesn't come before. So that's very important. So vexation of spirit is what we need to understand in terms of the humility that is necessary in order to operate under the guidelines and the premise that YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi is offering to us. This needs to really be examined by the men of the Lord and those elect that are in the truth. Because if you're not examining this, you can't practice it nor get involved with it, nor can you teach it. Okay? All right, let's go to, let's see, I just did, where do we stop? Okay, we know it's okay. I stopped there. Hated life because, I be hating my labor. All right, let's do 19, and then I'm going to pull away from Ecclesiastes 2 and go back to 1, because I need to precept some things from there. 19, and who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Question. Yet shall he have rule over my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have shown myself wise under the sun. This also is vanity. All right. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair of all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity, yet to the man that hath not labored, therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. For what hath man of all his labor and of the vexation of his heart, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows, and his travail grief, yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity. Right? So I want to stop there, and then I'm going to pull back to 1, because I got a couple precepts I want to pull from there, which I want to go to 17, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 17. And I gave my heart to know wisdom and to know madness and follies. I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit. Okay? So this is why we look at a lot of things that we want to acquire in life, and we use a carnality application in terms of looking to acquire it, because we're not practicing operating in the spirit. So since we're not, that is not the first thing we choose in terms of making decisions and then pushing forward to try to enact those decisions. So that's why it's important to try to understand that when this statement says here, and I gave my heart to know wisdom, this is what you do, but it says, and I know madness and folly, right? Because you do, because this is what usually you're participating in and surrounded by when you do give your heart to wisdom, right? And I perceive that this also is vexation of spirit, right? Okay? And we're going to go right down to 18 because this is important in terms of trying to understand what it is we're dealing with here. And okay, it says here, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he that increaseth knowledge increaseth sorrow. Check that out. So as you increase more knowledge here, do you increase sorrow? Yeah, because you can clearly see the state of what we're in and how far and how bad we've fallen. And now that you know that, how much more vexation of our own guilt do we operate under and that we see? You see what I'm saying? Okay. I did 17, 22, and 26. I want to go now to Deuteronomy. Go with me to Deuteronomy. And I'm going to pull Deuteronomy 28 and 20. So go to Deuteronomy 28. And then when I go to 20, it says, the Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou sittest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. So see, we can see how we forsake YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and in turn we earn the curses that are associated with it. You know, you gotta understand, if you start blending worldly carnality and trying to blend it with spirituality as far as this truth is concerned, as us being the Hebrew Israelites who have wakened up, that the Most High woke up, you run into this kind of a situation where you're going to inherit the curses to come upon you. They're still out there for those individuals that are destined for this to happen to. And you don't want to be in line for that. So you got to understand your humility is so important in terms of removing the vexation of guilt and the vexation of your spirit on you. And that's the only way that you can appeal to the Most High to have that removed. You see what I'm saying? Let's see. I want to go to 2 Chronicles because I saw something there. I pulled a precept there that was important. So 2 Chronicles, and I want to pull up 29 and what was it? 8, I believe I had 29. In verse 8, and it says, wherefore the wrath of Yahawah was upon Judah and Jerusalem, and he hath delivered them to trouble, to astonishment, and to hissing, as ye see with your eyes. So you can see the Most High is clearly letting you know he's not happy with the process that's going on with all this pride and all this this vexation that people are operating under, and this is why it's being turned up on them. Okay, now I want to go to Job chapter 5 and then verse 2 and then 6. So let's go chapter 5 and then it was 2. And it reads, for wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. Okay, and now we go to Job chapter 6 and verse 2. Oh, that my grief were thoroughly weighed, and my calamity laid in the balance together. See, the Most High is letting you know that he's in control of all things, and he has a lot of individuals that are destined to fulfill specific parts of this prophetic process as we move forward. And I know that it might sadden some to say that if you are created to be a vessel of dishonor, this is the role you are not going to get out of, as well as if you're created to be a vessel of honor. So you have that particular process that he set up already, and you can't change it. He has to make the change. No one else is going to make that change. It's very simple. All right, I'm going to Job chapter 10, and I want to pull from 17 when I get to 10, okay? So Job chapter 10 and verse 17, it says, thou renewest thy witness against me, and increaseth thine indignation upon me. Changes and war are against me. See, the Most High is a man of war. He's coming back. He's the Lord of hosts. And when he comes back, he sends his son back as his representation. And he ain't coming back giving out chocolates and roses. He's coming back to take this system down. And they took it by violence. He's going to take it back the same way. So you might as well get ready for the situation. And in order to navigate through this process, you need to be in a state where praise and worship is so important. When he cuts off all communication among all of us, and you're on an island by yourself, just like when you leave here and go back to the spirit world, you have to stand by yourself, for yourself, in front of YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and with the Mashiach and the angels. No Nobody's going to be there to protect you. It's not going to be no pastor there. There's going to be no Akim brothers there, no camp there to protect you or to vouch for you when you stand in the spirit world in front of YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. You're on your own then. So what are you going to say then? What are you going to do then? See, this is something that people don't really consider or think about all that much, but they need to start paying close attention to it because this is what's coming. I want to go to Jeremiah. I'm not going to take too much longer on the lesson, but you know we're going to rock to a few more precepts here. Jeremiah chapter 2. So bear with me, and we're going to go to 27. Jeremiah 2:27, and it reads, saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone, thou hast brought me forth, for they have turned their back unto me, and not their face, but in the time of their trouble, they will say, arise and save us. And see, this is what the Most High knows they're going to be. They know that at some point they're going to get to a stage where when they're shut off and cut off, they're going to need YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi to come and deliver them. And if you don't know the name and you operating with some bugged out doctrine, you're not going to have that ability to do that. Just want to make you very aware of that. 28, all right? But where are thy gods that thou hast made thee? Question. Let them arise, if they can save thee in the time of thy trouble. For according to the number of the cities are there thy gods, O Judah. Okay, so the Most High is letting you know. You running around worshiping fake white Jesus and all kinds of people, money, and men. And none of this is going to save you when the Most High drops the bottom out of this whole system, which is coming extremely fast. So you need to recognize that situation. Go to Jeremiah chapter 4, and we're going to pick up verse 18. Jeremiah 4:18, and it reads, thy way and thy doings have procured these things unto thee. This is thy wickedness, because it is bitter, because it reacheth unto thine heart. Okay, I got to read 19 right under it. My bowels, I am pained in my very heart. My heart maketh a noise in me. I cannot hold my peace, because thou hast heard, O my soul, and the sound of the trumpet and the alarm of war. This is what the Most High says coming. He's telling you, destruction upon destruction is cried, for the whole land is spoiled. Suddenly are my tents spoiled, and my curtains in a moment. 21. How long shall I see the standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? Most High, he's fed up. He had enough. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. Okay? So the Most High is going to behold this earth, and he's going to shake it the way he shakes it, and you're going to know about it. All right, we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 7 now and pick up precept here. 7:19, all right? Before I jump back to 7:19, and it reads, do they provoke me to anger? Question, saith YAHAWAH the Lord. Do they not provoke themselves to confusion of their own faces? You see what I mean? Therefore, thus saith YAHAWAH power, behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man, upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground, and it shall burn and shall not be quenched. See that? Most High is coming with the nuclear aspects of judgment, and when he brings it, no one's turning it back. You see, so how much are you not understanding what's going on here? You got to get into this. Jeremiah chapter 11. Let's go there. And I'm going to read 12. And it reads, then shall the cities of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem go and cry unto gods unto whom they offer incense, but they shall not save them at the time of their trouble. 13. For according to the number of the cities where thy gods, O Judah, and according to the number of the streets in Jerusalem, have ye set up altars to that shameful thing, even altars to burn incense upon Baal. See that? 14. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them, for I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. You see what I'm saying? Most High is telling you, he is bringing the pain. He's covering from both sides. And the only way you're going to be able to navigate through this process that he's bringing forward as the elect, and that's those that are chosen, that small remnant, is praise, worship, and prayer. You have to be doing all three. I cannot emphasize this enough because the Most High is pushing this on my spirit to continue to pound this. It has to be praise, worship, and prayer. Praise, worship, and prayer. Praise, worship, and prayer. Combination all together. Yes, do the work. Get the precepts out. Byways, highways, byways. Yes, all that. Do the work, but you still got to praise, worship, and prayer. Okay, don't get it twisted. Okay, all right. I want to bring a few more precepts in before we get ready to close out on this. Shalaki on, my attitude. I start out humble and everything. I know I get riled up a little bit about this because he's worked so my spirit about this situation. But just Shalaki, the water, BAHASHAM, please forgive me. Okay, I'm going to go to Psalms. So go with me to Psalms, and I'm going to go to chapter 6, and I'm going to get verse 7. And it says, mine eye is consumed because of grief. It waxeth old because of all mine enemies. Right? Psalms 10. I want to go there and pull 10 and 14. Psalm chapter 10, verse 14, and it says, thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief in spite, to requite it with thine hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. That is my Father, YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay, I want to go to Psalms 31, and I want precept 9. Okay, I got a method for this that I'm working on, so bear with me. 9. Have mercy on me, O Yahawah, for I am in trouble. Mine eye is consumed with grief, yea, my soul and my belly. So I'm trying to show you that the vexation we live through, we know, this is what we're going through. And this vexation spirit is very real. Okay, I want to go to Psalms chapter 4 and verse what do I want? 4. Psalms 4. No, Shalaki. I want to go to Proverbs chapter 4. I'm going to pop up Proverbs chapter 4, and I want 16. And it says, for they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. And this is what the Most High says he's dealing with when it comes to these people who are wicked. Esau Edom, right? Proverbs chapter 6, verse 14. And it reads, forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. Right? So the Most High says, 15, therefore shall I bring calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. And let's go into the 6 things. The 6 things doeth Yahawah hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. Okay, here we go. 17, a proud look, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that are swift to run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. And when thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is the light, and reproof of instruction are the way of life. See what I'm saying? He's letting you know right there off the bat. That lines it all up right there. I'm going to go to 12. Share love to improve our situation. Love that song. Shalaki. Proverbs chapter 12, verse 16. And it reads, in Proverbs 19, and it reads, Proverbs 21:19. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and angry woman. But when I say that, I'm not speaking specifically about our women. I'm using it as Israel is known as the Most High's woman, that woman, right? It's better to dwell in the wilderness to deal with a bunch of bugged out Israelites are supposed to be the chosen people of the Most High that are clearly on the wrong path. And that is contentious and it causes problems. And this gets our men, the men of the Lord and Yahakim and the brethren distracted by dealing with these bug outs and coming up and having to do things that speak to their reproof all the time. We got to reprove and move because we got more important things to talk about because the bottom's getting ready to drop out and we're going to be on an island by ourselves with no communication other than what the Rawhacca Qadash, the Holy Spirit is going to be able to provide for you. Because you may not have the access to who you usually communicate with. Maybe Yahawah will provide it, but we can't know that for sure. Okay? Okay. We're going to 24 now. Proverbs chapter 24 and verse 2, and it says, "For their heart studieth destruction, and their lips talk of mischief. Through wisdom, though wisdom is in house building, and by understanding it is established." Right? All right, so then we're going to go to 27 from here, Proverbs 27, and we're going to read 3, and it reads, "A stone is heavy and the sand weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both." This is so very important that we have to make sure that we clearly understand what it is we're dealing with here, because the Most High has made his decisions. They have already set in stone. And that stone is very heavy on the spirit of all he has created, on everything he has created. The resources, his people, his creatures, we as creatures, who we are. And that's a heavy burden that we have put on ourselves from vexation of our own guilt. We've got to understand, if we can't find a way to communicate in the capacity of humility that the Mashiach did with the Father, his Father, our Father, then we're going to be in a position where we're going to make our lives so much more difficult to operate in the Spirit. Vexation of our own guilt is something we have to look at very deeply, and we have to dissect it to the degree where we can offer each other some consoling power and process. It's best to try to get as much of that from YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi and get it done while we're still here in these chains of flesh that we're in before we transition out. You do not want to take any of this with you when you transition out of here. And that's what's most important at this point. We have to learn that. And this was the lesson of vexation of our own guilt. I'm sure that I could probably do 3 more lessons on this same situation. And if YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi provides that venue and wants me to do it, then so be it, I will do it. But for now, this is where we will stop. And I will say to you, I hope that you have a resourceful and spiritually successful praise and worship and prayer-driven Shabbat as we transition into this point, soon to be some more periods of time where some holy days are coming up, and we need to be ready for when the Most High makes the next big move. Shalom in about the ball. Okay, Shalom. That precluded the lesson, the second half of vexation of our own guilt, and I hope you were edified by that lesson and all of that you got a chance to experience and to hear. It was clearly it was tied in to the rest of the lesson that I did previously, and hope that you saw that the vexation of our own, and it's definitely in a position where what it does is it gives us enlightenment to a position to where we are at this present time in terms of the prophetic timeline that the Father is pushing forward as far as our regeneration, graduation to regeneration to our salvation. So one of the things that I think is important is to experience the fact that we need to stay foundational. We need to maintain being foundational, and we need to follow through with that process as we go and we give our lessons and our information to the selected elected, because that's who we're trying to reach. Everyone else, when we hit the cutoff period, you're going to have to deal with whatever measure your lot is that the Father gave you in reference to where you stand in his timeline as far as prophecy goes. So just wanted to get that finished up, and want to say, as I said in that short repost, call Hala, YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and Barakatah YAHAWAH Bahasham Yahawashi, and it's the end of the lesson, and Shalom.